What's up, magical humans? Welcome back to your most magical life. I'm Mia Magic, and today we are doing our little Sagittarius new moon download. So, I heard that, now this is an interesting thing about it, okay? I heard that it's a solar eclipse. Now, it is, but not here where I am. I'm pretty sure that Antarctica is like the only place where you would have been able to see the solar eclipse. And so, some people say like, oh, don't do rituals on eclipses. But what's very interesting about an eclipse and the modern world is like we would have no idea. If you were living in tribal times in North America, in Europe, and there was a solar eclipse in Antarctica, that would not affect you. You would have no idea. You would just go about your new moon and full moon rituals kind of like your normal way. So I'm going to just be touching on what you can do if you decide to create a ritual or you want to have a ceremonial experience around this Sagittarius new moon on Saturday, which I believe is it December 4th? I'm not good with dates. Anyways, I will be doing, of course, a new moon ritual on Friday. I believe it's December 3rd. Like, what day is it? I think it's December 3rd. Anyways, it's the Friday before the new moon in Sagittarius at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you're in Europe or a different time zone, don't worry. You will absolutely get a replay of the ritual so you can do it the next morning. It's totally fine. The new moon is actually Saturday morning. So all good. You can do it whenever you desire. So the biggest thing that I wanted to touch on around Sagittarius is that Sag is one of the mythical beings of the zodiac. It's the centaur. And the real mythological, metaphorical understanding of a centaur is that obviously it has, well, for those of you who don't know, has the legs of a horse. So it's solid with these 4 legs. Horses are super sure-footed. Obviously, that's why we've enslaved them and made them into pack animals, and we ride them. They're fast, they're strong, they can go long distances. They're really powerful, and they've really, honestly, like been a huge part of our modern world becoming what it was. Like we wouldn't have been able to do it without horse and oxen. So horses have those 4 legs, right? And their hooves, very sure-footed. And on the top of the horse is a man or a woman, but a human body, a human torso, human arms, human mind. And what that signifies or represents is the connection to the earth, is a deeply grounded, solid, stable, earthly foundation mixed with sort of that higher intelligence, higher mind, or godliness. I think it's funny that, you know, humans like associated themselves with godliness, and then the churches like took us completely away from godliness and are like, no, you're not godly, you're human, you're a sinner. It's all so convoluted at this point. But when we knew our powers, when we were in a harmonic alignment with magical, mythical stories, creatures, beings, and the understanding that the world itself is magical and is a living being, a sentient goddess, that human capacity was godlike. We were more attuned with our divine power. And so to have that structural, animal, solid strength of the horse and then the higher mind of the human, that was a really powerful being. Centaurs in mythology, those of you who are familiar with Harry Potter, they knew the stars. They were so wise. They had healing powers and gifts and would read the energies of the earth in order to divine wisdom. They were excellent diviners. They were absolutely really, really powerful. That's why, oh my God, how am I blanking on his name? You know, the guy in Harry Potter. Wow, cannot believe this is the first time I've ever forgotten a Harry Potter factoid like this, but it's okay. I'm not going to judge myself and we're not going to waste any more time on it. But he is the teacher of astrology because like Trelawney gets cast out, right? So he does that because centaurs have always had that connection to the earth, that wild primal strength and energy with that higher mind, higher vision, higher intelligence of that godliness, which doesn't have to be from humans, right? I think humans have forgotten a lot of their godliness, but that's neither here nor there. So that centaur represents Sagittarius, and that is very much who Sagittarian people are. Those of you who know, like my mom's a Sag, I'm a Gemini, so like very much opposite, but she is constantly seeking the understanding of her earthly reality in relationship to higher intellect or deeper questions or greater philosophy, and specifically because the ninth house rules travel and adventure, and Sagittarians are known for their adventurous spirit, specifically in relationship to travel. To like, let me go out into the world, see places, see things, meet people, talk to those who are totally different than I am, and understand even more about my earthly reality, understand even more about myself, understand even more about intellect in general, about life itself. So that is very much a Sagittarian quality. And those of you, again, who know Sagittarians, they are generally, depending on their primal triad and the whole rest of their chart, but they are generally the ones who are off on an adventure. And it doesn't always have to be external international travel. Like one of the things that my mom's really been doing lately is not needing a passport. She's like, oh, but this country is just so big. You can just, and she's been doing these like 7,000-mile road trips with her homegirls that are all Sagittarians too. I mean, they just love it. And they just want to talk to people that are from different parts of the country than they are. They want to talk to people with different political beliefs. They want to talk to people with different upbringings, different experiences. And they want to see what's right here outside of their front door. I mean, 7,000 miles, not outside your front door, but you know what I mean? So they just want to see and experience and understand even more deeply life itself, so that that solid foundation that they walk upon, their four legs, the elements that make up their life, are really deeply honed and crafted and cultivated. It's like you look at the leg of a horse, it's so beautiful and so strong and has so many different curves, and that is what a Sagittarian wants to do for themselves, is like, let me craft each of these elements, each of the foundational pillars of my life, in order to then connect more deeply to my higher self or to the universe or to God. I don't know a lot of particularly religious Sagittarians, but there's very much a sort of essential spiritual quality to that philosopher. The archetype is the guru, the professor, the philosopher. That is the adventurer. These are all the really important factors of Sagittarian energy. And so, as we know, new moons are always about planting seeds, setting intentions, and really walking forward in a new way into what you want to create in your life. So it's not just external, it's not just international, it's also internal. There are lots of Sag people who really just want to understand themselves. They want to understand their own bodies. And so their travel is inward. They're like, I don't need to go out here or like be big or do anything that's really external. I want to go inside. I want to understand the depths of the mind. I want to do, psychic travel or astral travel, or I just want to understand emotions, I mean, in the case of my mother, that is definitely not what she is exploring, is the emotional realm. She left that to me, but she is so fascinated and she, even when I was growing up, she would like sign up for college classes. She went to Berkeley and she would sign up for college classes in her 50s just to keep learning, just to like keep having more information coming into her life and into her sphere, more things to think about, avid readers. So what I was thinking about the other day is that obviously I'm a Gemini. Gemini and Sagittarius are opposite on the astrological clock. That's where we get the term opposites attract, is from astrology. So funny, my partner and I are both Geminis and both our moms are Sagittarians. We just did the whole Thanksgiving thing. My mom's birthday was Wednesday. His mom's birthday was Saturday. We like had our birthdays with the moms. It was so great. Or their birthdays with us. It was wild. It was like, okay, this is definitely like something's happening here. Like, two Geminis, two Sag, like, wow. So Gemini is an air sign. And when we think about the higher mind, generally the mind is associated with air. So I was like, this doesn't really make total sense to me. Why is Sag a fire sign? But Gemini is so curious. Gemini is about questions more so than answers. Sag is about the answers. And the thing that really hit me was that when we have an answer to something, it is up to us to act upon or from that answer. If we just, ask all the questions and we're being curious, we're like very Geminian, like la 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 la, like wondering and like thinking and curious and getting all of this information, that's great. But if we don't do anything with it or do anything about it or change anything within ourselves as a result of it, does it really matter? then it's just information. It's not wisdom. It's just conceptual. It's not integrated and embodied. So I was really thinking about, okay, if the Gemini, the air, is the curiosity, it is the questions, and the Sag, which is the fire, is the higher mind, how does that work? Well, air fuels fire. We have to ask the questions. We have to be constantly curious in order to get any answers, right? It's really hard to get an answer if you haven't asked a question. And then the Sag is also that centaur. We always see it with the bow. It has this arrow that's ready. I've been like, Bear has a whole archery kit. I've been like really doing more archery lately. Like, what am I doing? You let go with this hand. Anyways, like obviously I'm not that good at it, but Sag has this archer, always has the bow, that focal point, very much like Artemis, one of the first goddesses that I really ever worked with. It's that singular focus, that point of, I am going to understand this, whether it's myself or the world or humanity or my purpose or whatever, anything. And so that arrow, right, we have to, I've been learning this, in order to shoot an arrow, like back in the day, if that was all we had as a weapon or to feed ourselves, first you got to carve the bow. Luckily our bow is carved, but then you've got to like knock the bow. You got to pull it down just to get the string on it. Then you have to pick it up, put the arrow on, take your aim, pull it as tight as you can, back, and then you let it go. Then you release. There's all these actions, all these steps you have to take in order to hit that target. That is why Sag is a fire sign, is because it takes action. You have to do something about, you can talk and ask all the questions or like even just read the books, but if you're not putting into action what you're learning, it doesn't mean shit, quite frankly. And so that is the fire that is in Sag, is like, I'm going to learn, I'm going to experience, I'm going to go to the depths of, the edges of the world or of my own mind and my own limits, my own limiting beliefs, whatever it is. And what I discover and what I learn and what I understand, I am going to implement into my life. I'm going to be a living example of these things, of this wisdom, of this understanding. And I definitely, God has blessed my mom. I always would ask her. It's so funny because I'm like asking all the questions. So when I was really first on my spiritual journey, I would ask her all these questions, be like, Mom, what is God? What is time? What does that mean to you? She was always like, honey, I went to Berkeley in the 60s. And so I have thought about all of these things until my brain hurt. And what I found, and this is like very interesting, and some Sages will be like full fuck yes, and some will be like no. She said, what I found is that I can immediately affect my reality here and now. I can be an amazing friend. I can be an amazing woman. I can be a role model to my children or to children of the earth. I can support my political candidates. My mom goes literally every election, goes to a swing state to knock on doors and get people to vote for who she wants them to vote for. It's like, bless her, she's committed. But for her, that's what she thinks is important. She thinks she has to do that in order to make change in the world. I'm more of a why don't we be the change? But we're all here just doing our best. And she's so devoted. She was telling us some stories of just 15-hour days. She's in her 70s, knocking on doors in neighborhoods where there's drive-by shootings happening a block away. And she is devoted. She's committed. And so that is her embodied wisdom, is I know that I can affect the people in my immediate family, friend, community circle, maybe even my country, right? She's moving to Florida and Pittsburgh and all these places to support people in what she feels like is finding a way towards a better world together. So that was really powerful for me to see her do that. She's like, her higher mind pursuit is, I actually don't need to seek higher answers or think myself into oblivion. I want to experience. I want to see what travel and adventure teaches me. And I want to be able to be a living example of what I do know and affect people in my life. And so there are so many different ways that we can understand this energy. And what I think is really powerful is that this is actually our last new moon of the year. which the year is the Gregorian calendar. It's not really a year, but we've all bought into it. And so we do associate the fact that January 1st is another year. And so this is our last new moon. The next new moon in Capricorn will be in 2022. And so we have this opportunity to really look at one of the things that I am going to do. We're going to be leading a ritual in one of my sister's programs with Sahara, is really looking at what I think would be a great ritual is something like doing an inventory of all of the months of this year, starting in January, February, March, April. You guys know the months. And looking at, what did you learn? How did you grow? Where were your challenges? What were the most impactful things that happened? Where did you fall short? Where did you maybe let yourself down or not feel good about who you were or what you'd done or how you showed up? And as you're doing this inventory, just understanding, okay, these are all either, they're questions, right? And they're answers at the same time. It's like, what was I doing? What was I thinking? Well, okay, I was thinking this. What was I maybe, living out? Was this a pattern of my unworthiness? Maybe you were in a toxic relationship. Here's like the months where I stayed, where I told my friends I had to get out and I stayed. Why did I stay? Well, I didn't believe I was worthy of leaving. Wow. Then in June, I left. And then by July, I felt like myself again, or I felt free. Whatever it is, and really just looking at how your year showed itself to you, how you showed yourself throughout this year. Ask as many questions as you want. Like, what do I wish I had known? What would have made a difference? How could I have shown up differently? And then process through the whole year. And luckily you have this last month before the end of the year, right? And then into 2022. And Capricorn is the sign of our mission. It's the sign of our purpose. It's like our legacy and who we are meant to just show ourselves as and live as and be in the world. And so that is a perfect new moon to start the year with, right? What can I do for this final month to prepare myself to step into the version of who I know I'm meant to be, or because of this inventory, who I know I need to be in order to then really become that person, really embody that person, step into the integration of all that wisdom to be that person in 2022. Now, you're going to fall, you're going to stumble, you're going to fail, you're going to fuck up. It's okay. It happens to everybody. But that's the point of doing this inventory, is to see, okay, what are my patterns when I fall? Because like for me, if I get down into a funk, it's really hard for me to do my practice. And that's the most important time to do your practice. That's the most vital, impactful time to be on your practice, on your yoga, on your meditation, is when you're not feeling good. That's the best way to get yourself out of it. But that's a big challenge for me. It's like, if I'm feeling low energy or not happy or whatever, I have a hard time doing my thing. And that is incredibly frustrating. That is not supportive. It's not helpful. And so there's a big opportunity for us to really utilize this month and see where, okay, like, in October, I was in a funk and I didn't get anything done. But then this month, I started going to the gym, or I started doing yoga, or I started, gathering with my friends once a week, and I got really nourished by that. What do you need to do? What are the wins, like the triumphs, the accomplishments that you've seen over the last year? And what did it take for you to achieve them? What did it take for you to actualize those wins in your life? And then how can you use the information, the answers of the questions of how you failed or how you fell, how you stumbled, and how you picked yourself back up again, how you triumphed, how you won out over the depression or over the anxiety? And then how can you put that into practice in this month? What is that going to mean? What does that look like? Do you need to be, doing the next 30 days of, right, like all of December, depending on when you're watching this, but it's okay. It's never too late. You can always start, even if it's 1 week until the end of December, even if it's already 2022, does not matter. But you can say, okay, for the next week, every day, I'm going to do 1 hour of yoga. Or every day I'm going to do 30 minutes of meditation. Or every day I'm going to journal and I'm going to do a higher self writing, which is the other thing that I was going to offer to you guys. Y'all know I offer this all the time because it's just literally one of my favorite things to do. But I love automatic channeled writing. And for Sagittarius, you can especially, like, it is the higher mind. It's the earthly reality and the higher mind. And you can write, I call upon my highest self. Please write to me, through me, anything I'm meant to receive in this moment. I used to say, dear goddess, please use my pen to write to me anything I'm meant to receive in this moment. But I like it, to me, through me is better for me. So write whatever you want, but call upon that higher self. Call upon that higher wisdom and higher mind and ask it what you need to do, who you need to become in order to actualize that mission, like over this next moon cycle before the Capricorn new moon at the beginning of 2022. And y'all, 2022 is going to be fire. There's going to be some serious magic happening. We're going to have a 2 for February 22nd, 2022. So like there's going to be a lot. And as I'm saying this, it's 2222 on my little timing experience. So wow, great magic. For me, that is like just the sign of the goddess, the deep support. That's the balance. It's the yin and the yang. It's like both sides of life. And for me, like we've forgotten the goddess in terms of all of our major religions and stories of the divine. And so I really just feel her there in that number for me. So those are the two things that I would really recommend. Do an inventory of your year and then use that inventory, use the answers that you find to inform how best to step forward in your life and how you want to walk forward, what that target is for you that you want to shoot your arrow towards, that focal point, your drishti, like in yoga. This is where I'm going. This is my balance. This is my desire. And what do I need to do? Who do I need to be? What actions do I need to take in order to actualize this vision and accomplish this goal? So thank you all again so much for watching. I do have one little special gift for you guys. I made Intuition t-shirts. You got to follow that intuition, right? The inner wisdom, that witch inside of you who is so magical and knows the answers. That is the higher mind. And so I have Intuition t-shirts available on my website. I'll make sure to put the link below. So many of you have already gotten them. It's so sweet. I can't wait. I'm like, this is going to be so fun. We're all going to be wearing Intuition t-shirts together. One of my girlfriends bought 5 yesterday. She's like, I'm getting them for all my daughters. It's like so sweet. So if you would like to get one of those, I'll put the link below. Thank you all again so much for watching. As always, I am so grateful to each and every one of you. I know I do things a little unusually, so thank you so much for accepting me and receiving all of this wisdom and making this magic your own. That is really what my intention is, to just share with you how I'm crafting my wisdom and what my witchery looks like so that you can find it for yourself and make your life as magical as possible. So make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Again, I am Mia Magic, and this is your most magical life.